on the Noon Report. Another North Korean ghost ship washes ashore in Japan. Plus, making the season merry and bright, Bismarck police give back to kids in need. But first, after months of political wrangling, the ink is dry on the tax reform package.
Welcome to the Noon Report. I'm Molly Martinez. Mark is off today. Thank you so much for joining us. About an hour ago, President Trump signed the $1.5 trillion tax package into law. The president said he was going to wait to sign until January 1st, but he changed his mind. The legislation provides generous cuts for corporations and the wealthiest Americans, and smaller slices for the middle class and low-income families. It's the first major overhaul of the nation's tax laws since 1986. Politically, it marks Trump's first legislative victory, but it comes at a cost. The bill digs the deficit even deeper, which we'll be paying for generations to come. With tax reform done and the government shutdown averted, Congress leaves Washington with a lot left on the table. Tracy Potts explains.
I have bubbles.
Who's paying doctor bills for 9 million low and middle income children across America? For now, the federal government. Congress extended funding for the Children's Health Insurance Program through March. But some states fear the money may not last that long.
Next year is going to be very demanding.
Next year, January 19th, the next budget showdown.
And then what will happen then? Another crisis.
The temporary budget Congress passed avoids a crisis for now. No government shutdown today. But it leaves $81 billion in disaster relief up in the air for Florida, Texas, and Puerto Rico.
We have 300,000 homes underwater.
Speaking of health care, 8.8 million people signed up for insurance on the Federal Health Care Exchange during Obamacare's latest open enrollment. That number was down from last year's 9.2 million. 4.1 million people signed up in the final week, with 1 million people being new customers. Let's take it over to Henry Blakes. Now, Henry, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Yeah, definitely feeling the part. If you're heading to lunch outdoors right now across the Bismarck area, we are talking about some light snow showers. More details on that frigid Christmas forecast coming up.
Thank you, Henry.
You're welcome.
The County Commission heard once more today from Deputy Timothy Poston. After yet another heated back-and-forth dispute, the Commission chose to deny Poston his grievance. Poston made a claim to the Commission that due to a possible side effect of a prescription drug he was taking, he was improperly put on unpaid leave by Sheriff Barnard. Poston remains on unpaid leave. We'll have more information on this tonight. An Illinois man was just sentenced to 40 years in prison for sex trafficking. That includes the trafficking of a child. Prosecutors say Anthony Collier had lewd photos of minors on his Facebook. That included a photo of a 17-year-old girl on her knees with a dog collar around her neck. Collier was also charged with soliciting minors on Backpage.com. 5 victims were interviewed. And a Twin Buttes man will spend the next 30 years behind bars. 73-year-old Lonnie Spotted Bear is accused of sexually abusing children over a 5-year period. Prosecutors say Spotted Bear molested 3 girls under the age of 12. When 2 of the girls told on him, he found their guardians and tried to intimidate them. Authorities in Devil's Lake say a body was found inside of a burning car outside of a Walmart parking lot Wednesday afternoon. The fire department responded around 5:30 p.m. and quickly put out the flames. Investigators are now trying to figure out what started that fire. Well, it's the season of giving, and Bismarck police officers went on a shopping spree at Target last night to help specially selected families. Each year, Target chooses an organization to help. This year, they chose the Sacred Pipe Resource Center. 9 children were given $60 to shop for their families for Christmas. The Police Youth Bureau says they're happy to help out. Around town, Goebel Pediatric Dentistry is expanding and moving locations from East Avenue C to Divide in Bismarck. The clinic is running out of space, so they decided it's time to move and expand to a better location. The new location will be doubled in size, but it'll look similar to their current shop.
It's just gonna give us room to grow and more accommodate the staff and the patients and the parents and that kind of thing. Not necessarily, I mean, we are gonna have more chairs, but not double the chairs.
Goebel Pediatric Dentistry hopes to move into their new location during the late summer or early fall of 2018. Welcome back. A daring dog rescue caught on camera. A 9-year-old black lab named Hardy was stuck in this frozen river for almost an hour before animal welfare workers came to his rescue. This is in England. Firefighters tied a safety rope to a worker's waist. The rescue worker then crawled out onto the frozen lake and pulled Hardy out of the water. Rescuers say Hardy had a small cut on his paw and was cold, but otherwise was totally fine. Speaking of dogs, today's the big day in Minot. After being stolen from her family 4 years ago, a dog and her owners are being reunited as we speak. Minot police found several abandoned and neglected animals in a drug house. This dog was in such bad shape she couldn't stand up. Vets at the pound treated her and scanned her for a microchip. Police were able to track down her owners, who live in Williston. In health news, your Christmas poinsettia is not dangerous, but eating raw cookie dough might be. There are a lot of myths that pop up this time of year, but how many of them are true? We've been told that poinsettias are poisonous, especially for pets, but studies show 95% of reported reactions from the plants were harmless. It seems the bad reputation stems from an unconfirmed death back in 1919. But the warnings about raw cookie dough are true because flour and raw eggs may contain salmonella. Well, if the stress of the holidays has you feeling blue, grab some friends and go caroling. Turns out singing in groups makes us happier. British researchers studied a program called Sing Your Heart Out, which offers singing workshops for people with mental illness. Most participants said group singing helped boost their mood and ability to function. It also improved their social skills and sense of belonging. Thank you very much, Henry. I'm not loving those single digits.
Yeah,
but
neither
I'll
am
take
I.
that up with you later. Meantime, the Kris Kringle countdown is on, and it's looking like he's going to have a very chilly Christmas Eve journey. This year, you'll be able to track Santa's flight path with the help of satellites. Moms Every Day Liz Hayes explains. Speaking of Santa, he and Mrs. Claus made a surprise visit to the KFYR studio today. They passed out candy, which I can only imagine means we're all on the nice list. We'll have more in the Noon Report after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's a troubling trend. This week, another so-called North Korean ghost ship washed ashore on the beaches of Japan. Inside, the bodies of several North Korean fishermen. While geographically the two nations are only separated by a few hundred miles, the conditions of the bodies offer clues to how dire the situation in North Korea has become for its citizens.
This boat drifted ashore this week onto a Japanese beach. In 2017 alone, upwards of 100 of these North Korean ghost ships have washed up on Japanese beaches. Inside, the decomposing corpses of North Korean fishermen. The boat was transported by the prefecture government. There, a heavy machine made little effort to disassemble a fragile wooden frame. The expenses to dispose of the vessel came to several hundred thousand yen. The prefecture foots the entire bill.
今後こういったことが増えてくると当然ちょっと予算が足りなくなってくるので、そのあたり私どももちょっと心配してまして。
As the cost burden falls on local authorities, the national government plans to assist them as well as enhance patrols in coastal areas. The boats, mostly from North Korea, also affect Japanese fishermen. The ghost vessel contained life jackets and fishing gear, indicating its crew is trying to catch squid. Many of the boats are believed to be engaged in illegal squid fishing in Japanese waters. This fishing town has been hit hard.
あんまり芳しくないね。水揚げで考えるとダウンしてますよ。
Their peak hulls dropped about 40% from last year due to North Korea's illegal fishing activities. Footage taken in September shows a group of wooden boats with a North Korean flag. On them are large amounts of squid. They were fishing in Japan's exclusive economic zone without permission. The Japanese Coast Guard tries to control North Korean boats by spraying water on them. But the number of wooden boats found drifting in the Sea of Japan or washed up on Japanese shores is on the rise. Lower water temperatures in the year-end have driven fish and North Korean fishing vessels away for the time being, but they are certain to return come spring.
In Jerusalem, Israeli police are being deployed after a Palestinian faction called for another, quote, day of rage in response to the U.S. recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Deploying across various city flashpoints, police are preparing for potential clashes after the Muslim noon prayers. At the United Nations, more than 120 countries defied President Trump and voted in favor of a UN General Assembly resolution calling for the U.S. to drop its Jerusalem decision. A spokesman for the Western-backed Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas, called the vote a, quote, victory for Palestine. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected the vote. Meantime, violent clashes are raging in the West Bank. Protesters set fires in the streets and threw rocks at police, who fired back with rubber bullets and smoke bombs. President Trump's Jerusalem decision broke from decades of U.S. policy and international consensus that the fate of Jerusalem should be decided through negotiations. Jerusalem lies at the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Israel sees the city as its undivided capital. The Palestinians claim East Jerusalem, home to key Muslims, Jewish and Christian holy sites, as their capital. In Australia, a day after a driver deliberately plowed into a group of pedestrians, the roads in central Melbourne are open. You can see heavy police presence along the road. This is the street where the suspect drove full speed into a crowd of Christmas shoppers. Nearly half of the 19 people hospitalized were foreign nationals. Yesterday's attack mirrored several other mass casualty incidents involving cars and crowds, most notably in Nice, France, and recently along a New York bike path. Meantime, Las Vegas isn't taking any chances. Yesterday, the city set up hundreds of steel barriers along the Strip. All the beams are connected underground and can withstand a head-on collision from a 15,000-pound vehicle traveling at 50 miles per hour. The county plans to install 7,500 more of these next year. The goal is to protect pedestrians from vehicle attacks. All right, let's take another check on weather with Henry Blakes.
Hey, yeah, we're talking about temperatures in the teens right now. They're going to continue to fall throughout the rest of the day. Slight chance of snow showers will linger across the Bismarck area for the afternoon. Otherwise, don't expect really any additional accumulation. But notice how the evening hours go. Temperatures continue to fall down throughout the remainder of the day, so don't expect it to get any warmer. And especially as we head into your Christmas and next week, where highs will only be in the single digits.
Oh man, this is going to be a freezing Christmas.
It is.
Henry, I'm used to seeing you at night.
I know, we don't get to see each other in the morning like this.
It's really nice to see you during the day.
Yeah, I like this kind of trend.
We will see you tonight on our other shows. Have a great rest of your day.